Alright, in this video we're going to look at intercept form. So from intercept form we can get our x-intercepts, our vertex, and our axis of symmetry. So let's start with our x-intercepts because we get those directly from our solutions. So if we were to set each of these equal to 0, x plus 5 equals 0, or x plus 2 equals 0, we could solve and we're going to get that x equals negative 5 or x equals negative 2. So our x-intercepts are negative 5, 0 and negative 2, 0. So I can go ahead and plot those over here. Negative 5, negative 2. Now, the next thing we need to worry about is the vertex. So that's going to happen from, well, let's go to the axis of symmetry first because that'll help us figure it out. So the axis of symmetry is down the middle. So I'm gonna draw that dashed line right down the middle of my intercepts. So if you notice, that goes about halfway in between. So I'm going to say that that's at about negative 3.5. So my axis of symmetry equals negative 3.5, or I could say x equals negative 7 halves. Right? So we can write it as a fraction or as a decimal, and that's my axis of symmetry. Now to get my vertex, I'm going to take that negative 7 halves, or negative 3.5, and plug it into my equation. So I have negative 1 half times negative 7 halves plus 5 times negative 7 halves plus 2. So I could go ahead and change these two halves, so that's 10 halves, that's 4 halves, right? Just finding common denominator. So then my k, or my other coordinate of my vertex, is going to be negative 1 half times 3 halves times negative 3 halves. So you could put this all in your calculator as a decimal and that would do the same thing, but since I don't have a calculator on here, I'm going to do it the old-fashioned way. So multiplying across the top, I'm going to get a positive 9. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. And then 2 times 2 times 2 down below. So then 9/8 is going to equal the k of my vertex. So I'm going to go ahead and sketch that. So I can go to my negative 7 halves up. 9/8 is just a little more than 1. And I'm going to draw that in. And then I can draw a rough sketch of my graph from this. So I know that the negative 1 half here has it facing upside down and a little wider because it's been vertically compressed. So that's a little rough, but with this iPad, that's about the best I can do. So that's an example of using your x-intercepts, finding your vertex, and your axis of symmetry. So that vertex is just halfway between your intercepts. And then to find the coordinate, you just plug in that value for your axis of symmetry and use that to find your k value of your vertex.